Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you a traditional German stew dish which is called Beef Roulades. So let's start with the ingredients. The most important part obviously is good meat. I got organic beef here, which had been cut in very thin slices. Roulades are cut from the inside of the hind leg, and this is pretty much that part where you get your steak from as well. So our roulades are going to be filled with some mustard, some smoked bacon, some prickled cucumbers, half of a carrot and half of an onion. So these are the vegetables we need for our sauce. We need onions, celery, carrots, leek and parsley root. Furthermore, we need 1 tablespoon of tomato paste, garlic and 2 laurel leaves. Then we need 8 ounces of red wine and 20 ounces of water. So we first start by cutting up all the vegetables for the sauce. The vegetables are washed and peeled, and now I just cut them into little pieces. Now I cut 1 carrot and 1 onion into thin slices. The cucumbers are quite small, so I just cut them into quarters. Now we start by seasoning the meat, and we only need salt, white pepper and fresh black pepper. I use sea salt, but regular salt is just fine. Then I use some fresh black pepper and some white pepper powder. Then we coat every piece of meat with a teaspoon of mustard. Now we can start filling the roulades. First we put in 2 slices of smoked bacon, and on top of the bacon we put on the stripes of onions, carrots and the cucumbers. So now we can start rolling them up. We grab the meat, We pull and roll tight until we reach the end. Then we take the end and fix it with a toothpick. So for that, we just penetrate the meat, get in and come out the other side. So the preparation time has taken me about 25 minutes. Now it's finally time to roast the meat. I use an iron pan which heats up quite nicely. I put in some vegetable oil and let it heat up. Now the oil has reached the perfect temperature and I put in the meat. I put it on the side where the toothpick sits first. That way it seals the place where the toothpick is located so that nothing can happen and it can't open up anymore. So after 2 to 3 minutes, it's time to turn them, and the goal is to get this rich brown color on each side. So another 2 minutes later, you see that the meat has lost all its water. You can see all these bubbles. This is the water which is now evaporating. Now all the water had been pretty much evaporated and I had turned the roulades a couple of times. So the color which I wanted to get is on each side now, all around. This took about 10 minutes and now I get them out to roast the vegetables. You may see that I am still on maximum heat level because I let the water of the roulades evaporate first, and now I put in the vegetables, which contain also a lot of water, and this helps to soak off the roasted residue which is on the bottom of the pan. It looks like blackish, dark, dried up honey and is quite sticky, but this stuff, this is all the taste you need for the best sauce ever. So don't mistake it for burnt stuff, it's not. Be careful with it and just let it dissolve and mix up with the vegetables. After about 5 minutes, the vegetable color turns golden brown as well, and now it's time to put in the tomato paste. Tomato paste has more acid than lemons. That's why it's quite important to roast the tomato paste as well. By roasting it, you make sure your sauce doesn't taste like tomato. The roasting takes about 3 minutes, and then the tomato paste has nicely mixed up with the vegetables, and now we put in our red wine. If you don't like to use red wine, you can easily replace the red wine and the water with a vegetable broth. If you want to know how to make a good homemade vegetable broth, please click on this link in the upper right corner and watch the video. I want to say something about the red wine. You should always use red wine you would like to drink. I chose a Bordeaux, it's rich in taste and I really love this wine. If you don't have Bordeaux at home, that's not an issue. You can choose any red wine you like as long as it is dry and as long as it is good in taste. There's one rule: if your wine is not good, your sauce is not going to be good either. It doesn't take long until all the red wine is almost gone. We have to do that because, for one thing, red wine contains acid as well, and by letting it reduce to almost no liquid, we make sure that there is no sour taste left anymore and all the alcohol had been evaporated by now. Now we are almost done. We put in the garlic and the laurel leaves and put back the roulades into the pan. This is the meat broth that came out while the meat had rested, and I put it back into the pan as well because it's all taste. Now we fill up with water until the meat is almost covered. We let the water heat up until it boils, but just very briefly until we see the first bubbles. Then we put on the lid. We reduce the heat to 30% and we let it simmer for 1.5 hours. So this is what they look like after 90 minutes. The meat is really soft by now, and this is optional. If you want to serve them later, just let them cool down and rest. After the resting time, you heat them up slowly and then you can take them out. So the only thing we have to do now before we can serve is we sieve the vegetables to get a clear liquid sauce, which we then finish up with a little bit of cornstarch and water. Here you see me gently squeezing the veggies to get out the last drops of moisture. After that, we don't need the veggies anymore because all the taste they ever had is now in your sauce. Now is the time to taste. If you need any more salt or pepper, in my case, I didn't need anything. All the taste this delicious Bordeaux sauce had came from the little salt and pepper I put on the meat and from roasting the veggies and the meat. So the final thing is I do now. I take 1 tablespoon of cornstarch and mix it with double the amount of water. Then I gradually put some of the cornstarch water mixture into the sauce, not too much at once. I let it boil, I'll check, and if it's not enough, I put in some more because I don't want the sauce to get too thick. So finally, it's time to serve. I serve them with mashed potatoes, and if you want to know how I make these, please hit the info button in the right upper corner and watch the video. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, please leave a comment, like, subscribe and share if you don't want to miss the next one. So see you next time. Bye bye.